How's it going, everyone? I'm Honan,
I'm Oliver.
and this is the K-pop podcast. And before we kind of do a roundup of this month's releases, Oliver is gonna do a little news update for us.
Yeah, so I won't I won't keep talking about the Luna thing every single week. But we have like the smallest of updates in that yesterday Hyunjin went live on Instagram with Chu and with Vivi, which so two of the members who never filed the injunction with like the one who started it all, which is quite a nice little sign that they're all, they're very much united or whatever. So that was cool and all. Then nothing really came of it. It was very brief, but just it was a nice thing that happened.
It's just them showing they're still friends with each other and everything.
Yeah. And then the big one is a very similar kind of a situation is with GWSN. We've kind of like suspected this for a while because we heard stuff like last year from one of their producers of their songs saying that he never got paid. Like he made these songs for for their album,
Yeah.
and then the company just never paid him. I mean, obviously he didn't get any royalties or anything, so he's just kind of like, well, you know. Um,
I'm surprised there isn't like criminal liability for that. There has to be, right?
you'd hope, but it also transpired that the company no longer had any employees. Like there's so there's like you can see like where a company is registered and you can see like their stated number of employees or whatever.
Yeah.
um and yeah, it said the Wave Music zero, which meant that they didn't count GWSN as
As
employees,
employees, yeah.
which I think generally is true because like idols, especially rookies or nugus, aren't salaried, so they're not employees, so that kind of makes sense. But it meant that they had no staff under contract. um, so there's that. Like they are a subsidiary of a bigger company, and they've been rebranded before. So people thought, okay, maybe they're just doing something along those lines again. But anyway, it emerged that the members had all of them, all seven of them, had filed a lawsuit to terminate their contract, and that the court had approved this because they said that they were not being treated in a way where they could actually do what their contract said that they should do,
Yeah.
aka promote as a musical group. Um, so this was filed on the 12th. So they said that they were evicted from their accommodation in February of last year, February, so almost a whole year ago, because their company just stopped paying rent and didn't say anything about it. They no longer had access to a dance practice room, and they had no connection to anyone in the company because everyone left the company and just left them completely adrift. Mia and Soso, who are from Japan and Taiwan, respectively, any company in Korea that hires a foreign employee has the responsibility to carry out their visa stuff. So, like, when I have my visa renewed, my company has to send some particular documents and stamp them and send them to the visa office, and then I have to do my part, and then the two come together to give me the visa. Like, you can't do it just by yourself.
Yeah.
So it turned out that the company had just not bothered to do the visa stuff for Mia and Soso. Consequently, Mia and Soso were given criminal charges and now have criminal records because they have illegally been in Korea without visas,
Oh my god.
which obviously is really unfair to
Yeah, that's
them.
really messed up.
They weren't so they had to pay fines in order to overcome not going to jail. So obviously they haven't been getting paid or given anything, and now they get fined on top of that. So not great.
They should be able to
Um,
sue for that, for the company not.
well, that's the next step, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't given any food, any personal allowance. They weren't given any details about settlements or anything like that. All of this since the last album, which came out in June of 2021. So they've been sitting for a while. The lawsuit. So the girls came together and they filed this lawsuit, and the company didn't respond to the charges. So the courts like said, "Hey, you've been sued. Basically, you need to come to court and respond." and they just didn't respond. So the court said that they have 14 days in order to respond to this, and then if not, then the contracts are going to be completely nullified, and the girls can press further charges if they want to, which obviously they should, because I think they have quite a strong case, even though it's like they're talking to no one. It's like they actually have to find someone responsible. Just earlier today, Soryong tweeted a picture of Dobby, the scene from Harry Potter where Dobby says Dobby is free. So she put it on her Instagram. So people are taking that to mean that it's been done and they're out. So
nice.
So hopefully that's good news for GWSN. Hopefully they can, if they so want to, find a new home.
Well, I hope the Mia and Sosa, right?
Yeah,
can sue them for that. Like that's the most like overly messed up part about all of it is they got like criminal charges for their company not even doing the most basic thing.
Yeah. I know that the fines can go up to about 5 million won, I think. It's about 5,000 or 4,500 USD, like not a small amount. I don't know exactly what they got charged, but yeah. But it's interesting, obviously, in the big example of this has been the Luna situation, but this is obviously, but they obviously weren't the first, and they're not going to be the last. So it's good that we're seeing more situations like this, and as an addendum to that, we're also seeing kind of success stories coming from lawsuits that have happened. So tracing a boy group who were fucking straight up physically abused by the company, like they were beating the members and smacking them around and starving them and all kinds of shit. They filed their lawsuit and got out, and they recently re-debuted as BXB. So if you want to support BXB, please do. Thought the song was pretty good. But you know, it's nice that they've been able to find a new home and debut together again and kind of keep going, you know. So hopefully the same is going to be true for the Moon Girls and the Park Girls.
It's good to see groups able to use the court to like defend themselves. Otherwise, it'd be like so depressing to see like a bunch of groups just being screwed over completely, and the court just being like, "Wow, you signed a K-pop contract or something," and just glossing over it or whatever, you know. Because it seems like they're actually able to defend themselves.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's kind of the main pieces of news. I guess I don't know if there's any real other things worth talking about that much. Jamie exposed her boyfriend for cheating on Instagram. That was fun.
Yeah. I saw that in the
Discord. Hyuna and Dawn are supposedly back together. I guess one thing that kind of had a bit more weight to it was Danielle from New Jeans. She wished during Lunar New Year, she wished people on the New Jeans social media saying Happy Chinese New Year, which is, I think, generally the way that a lot of us learn about it in the West, right? We learn about Chinese New Year rather than Lunar New Year, right?
Yeah.
Even though they're the same thing, but we learn the expression Chinese New Year, and Danielle, brought up in Australia, it stands to reason that that's actually learned it. But anyway, a lot of people were very angry about it. A lot of people were very, very angry about it because various things about China trying to erase Korean culture or whatever, and also in Vietnam where it's the same similar kind of deal. So a lot of the fans were upset. A lot of Korean fans, a lot of Vietnamese fans were not happy. But it is what it is. It's kind of blown over. Hilariously, at the same time, when One Young wished fans a happy Lunar New Year, her Chinese fans were mad about her not saying Happy Chinese New Year. So
there's just like, no way to win. I just don't. You know what? Don't wish him anything. Fuck him.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like I learned it as Chinese New Year as well until obviously my drummer in my band's from China, so then like once I spent time around them and they never called it for them it's just the New Year. Like so I stopped calling it Chinese New Year pretty quickly, and it was just the New Year for them. Like it wasn't even. They do say, I've seen Johnson say Lunar New Year before, but he just says like New Year usually. He doesn't. It's for us being the New Year. It's just for same thing without any like attachment in front of it when he says it about like he didn't even wish me Happy New Year when it was like the U.S. New Year, and then it was like boop the second.
Oh yeah, he only did it then.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just think it's ridiculous when like didn't this stuff kind of like always happens, because I remember like the original time I ever saw something like this was like Zhui from Twice or something, because she had like a Taiwan flag before or something like that. And there's just always that kind of like moment when the internet's waiting for an idol to do one thing that they can just all hound them for.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like the kind of culture war that exists between Korea and China. It can get pretty heated, but well, it is what it is. It's hundreds of years of tensions and historical confrontations speaking. So
yeah,
it's not going to get changed anytime soon.
I think Won Young and Danielle, right, should just, when it's the New Year, should just not say shit to, that way they can't get flamed by all the they should be able to, but the internet's a horrible place, so
that's the other thing. Jay from in Hypen, he really put his foot in it recently when he was doing a live, and he said that he was interested in history, and then he said that Korean history is like a short story compared to other places, basically saying that Korean history is not as long or extensive as, I don't know, China or ancient Rome or whatever. I get what he was trying to say, but a very dumb thing to say given his job and perspective. So obviously people were extremely mad about that, and he came out and made one brief apology, and then he came out and made a much longer, more extensive apology where he promised to do some more research and learn more about Korean history and how much more in depth and involved that he previously thought it was. So yeah,
just wait till we get like a German idol who's like, nah, my some nationalistic idol. No, but it's
Yang Yang.
To me, it's just so like, obviously someone's not gonna. That doesn't even sound like a comment where he's openly saying anything like bad per se. He's just saying how long one culture's existed or something. You know?
Like, as ever, it's not that deep, guys. Like, we can chill a little bit.
Hopefully next New Year, Won Young just drops the middle finger on her Twitter or something.
Imagine the scene. Won Young completely image shifts to like a bad girl vibe. Like,
man, she just puts "fuck everyone" on her Twitter.
Yeah, just starts swearing. She switches her role in IVE to become a main rapper, and she just is like foul mouth tirades in her.
I'd stand
lyrics. Yeah, I'd be here for it. I guess other sort of news is, I guess, the first sort of major group comeback, if you want to call it that, has been announced today in Stacy. Certainly one of the ones that we always look out for. We always look forward to their music whenever they release something. So Teddy Bear, a single album, is coming next month.
Teddy Bear? Did I hear
Teddy
that? That's, I mean, you know what? It's a good title because you don't forget it quickly, I guess, if you're thinking about it. Like,
well, it makes me think of the song by Natty. Da, 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 Teddy Bear. Da, 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 da.
God, song. It's crazy. I know who that is. That's the Thai idol, right? From Almost in Twice or something, right?
Yeah, she was on the 16.
Yeah. That's why I know, because I've seen those 16 clips before, and there was a time when someone in our chat, I don't remember who it was, would always like shill Natty to me. Maybe it was you.
I don't think it was me, but
it was somebody.
That's great. She's supposed to be going to re-debut in a girl group. She had a couple solo songs, but anyway, I guess we can go to the main.
Yes,
the main area for today.
Or to talk about the releases of this month.
Yes.
Which there's only one thing to talk about, and that is my goddess Taeyeon. is back with Stamp on it. There's others in the group too. Yes, I know, but
Supposedly.
listen, short hair Taeyeon exists in a threshold of her own, and then there's like, but I must say, Windy. I've been really noticing Windy this comeback. No particular reason for that. It's just.
Uh-huh. Wendy wanted you to notice her, I think.
And then Winter's just consistent, like I never have to worry about like what shift of style Winter's gonna have. The bob has just like there was that bit what I think the girls released, right, where it just kind of went a little like off kilter, but it came back quickly.
Yeah, she goes on and off with extensions, and it's like I go from paying attention to her to not, depending on whether or not she has the extensions. But no, I mean I haven't. I'll preface all of this by saying that I haven't been watching many music videos. I think the only times I've really been watching any music videos is when we watched them on the stream. So, but I did see the performance video of the, and I listened to the EP, but I didn't watch the music video.
You didn't watch the music video for Stamp on it?
No.
Oof. So you didn't see there's like a scene Taeyeon and Solgi scene that's not good for your health.
Well, so I'm quite happy living in my bubble and judging solely music in my wizard's tower.
I will say the performance, it's kind of, the music video for this one kind of is like a performance.
It's similar to how they did it last time, right?
It has like a couple slowed down, like them, like particularly the one I only remember really is Taeyeon walks beautifully down like a flight of stairs and then grabs Solgi by the shoulder and they stare at each other. That's like the only thing I remember that's not dancing.
See why that would be in your brain.
But the rest of it's mostly choreography and like them looking cool on top of fancy cars and motorcycles and stuff.
As you do.
Yeah.
The songs were okay. I wasn't like crazy about them. I know. I kind of, I'm sat there feeling like for a group of girls who were that talented, I wish there was maybe a bit more to some of the songs that they've been given.
Oh, do you not? I actually really like Step On It.
No, fair enough. I mean,
but you know me, I'm all like some of that like early Blackpink that just hits like a club jam. Like to me, Step On It just has that kind of like it bumps right away. Like that part's really catchy to me. Like the it's got a like good hook. I think lyrically. It's a lot better than the first one. Like
that is true.
Step Back. Although there were the sound of Step Back. There are things I really enjoyed about that one too. Like that same style really. Both songs to me though. To me they're like pretty much the same type of release.
Yeah, they're not produced by the same people, but they do have very similar structure. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like. When you have that group of people in a group, I'm like they could have the best song ever. Like they have all the components in terms of the members to deliver something incredible, and they've just delivered stuff that's been like for me anyway.
Yeah, you could definitely. I mean, the thing is, I feel like it's a hard balance when you have like, how do you find balance when you have Taeyeon, Solgi, and Windy that can do the high notes and things like that in the song and everything. It's like obviously Taeyeon to me probably would be the forefront of like vocals in that group, but Windy's like just as capable of having some crazy extension at the end of the song, so it's
and like Winter is no joke either.
I
mean obviously none of them are bad vocalists at all. I don't know, it's obviously it's tricky, but when they announced that it was going to be a full mini album, everyone was kind of like, oh, that's interesting, but then there wasn't too much that stood out about it. I kind of would have been into like some unit songs or something on a mini album where you have more for just a few of the members to breathe, do stuff. I don't know, nothing about it was very memorable.
Like vocal rap unit.
Yeah, or whatever it might be. Just
Yeah, they could have done like a Hyoyeon with like Boa. I'm sorry, I was about to say BOA again. I've been corrected many times. And like who's Karna kind of does rap too, right?
mm.
I feel like they could have done like a rap kind of like dance unit
Well,
thing.
Bo doesn't really rap, but
She did
yeah,
in this song though, right? Yeah.
did she? I
I
don't
think
know.
she has the breakdown with Hyoyeon for like rapping this one.
Oh, okay,
Maybe
interesting.
because I'm thinking dance too, just because like they could have had
Yeah,
like a cool
certainly like
dance
dance
unit thing.
performance.
Because I feel
Yeah,
like Solgi, Taeyeon, and Windy could be like the perfect like vocal ballad unit or something, you know? Like if
I
they,
guess it might be a little bit too similar to like the SM album that we had at the end of the year, where we had a bunch of like different units and stuff.
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not in charge. But at least it seems that they're gonna keep doing stuff with them
Isn't there a
and
song called
release
Goddess
more stuff.
Levels? I remember when I was checking out the EP or whatever it
Something,
is.
something like that.
That's what they should
I,
have named the album, just like
I remember hearing
Goddess
them
Level.
say "goddess." Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, overall, I mean, I loved it because I got short hair Taeyeon back, so it's any release of that is a 10 out of 10 for me. But I did like the like beat of it in general.
that's fair.
The first instant start of it is great. Like Taeyeon comes in right away with that da 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 like verse, you know, and the da 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 da. Like to me, that's the best part of like the whole song is that initial kick in of them starting.
Hmm.
I think how many was the New Jeans thing this month? Or am I crazy? Because I've seen a lot of
Yeah,
things in the lives, but sometimes it all blurs to whether it was last month or this month.
yeah. Oh my God, dropped on the second.
Oh my, yeah, better, better, that one, right?
Yeah, it's all right. you know,
I
but
really, at first, had no strong opinion on New Jeans when we checked them out.
yeah.
And over time really grew to like respect how good like Attention and Hype
Uh,
Boy are.
Yeah,
Over time those two grew on me where I was like, okay, these are just really freaking catchy. You know, like when like especially Gone on Attention and it's like
yeah.
holding that.
Attention's a great chorus, but I sort of find myself going out of my way to listen to them. But I'm not mad when they do come on, you know. But
Yeah.
like, I think I've warmed more to Ditto. But again, it's just like I'm never going like, man, I really want to listen to Ditto right now. It's just like, oh, Ditto's come on or autoplay. I guess I'll listen to it. I'm not mad
It's
at it.
the Ditto and Oh My God are the newest releases, right?
Yeah,
And the problem like they're just so calm to me, like tame. I
right.
guess you would say so. There's never anything for me. Like my favorite like K-pop releases always
You
have a
want to get
little bit of
pumped.
edge to them or something that hits.
Yeah, Ditto's got that very like subtle kind of like almost light drum and bass type beat to it, like but
Yeah.
in a very very light way, which I do kind of like. But yeah, I do have to be in the mood. And I will
Well,
say that it's on the verge of overtaking Dynamite for the most perfect all kills of any song ever.
so do you think because I think that's just because of how popular their previous releases made them, right? Like I don't think Ditto is a better song to
No,
close to like Attention or Hype Boys like song sound, like like
no,
the
I don't think so either. But it's there's something is going on. It's kind of bizarre to the extent that like some people here are kind of like, I mean, they're not even that popular in some ways. Like they're not selling out their sections in for audiences and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, who's listening? Like they're always seen at the top of the charts, but it's like no one's actually listening. I don't know. There's some conspiracy theories going around about them buying a lot of slots on playlists and stuff like that. But whatever it is, they're
I
killing it.
do believe there was like valid hype to the hype to the
Nice.
first like couple releases, like Attention and Hype Boy and all that stuff together. I do think those were good enough to be so like popular overall because over time I've realized how catchy they are to me, like hearing them and stuff. At first they didn't hit me, but they do now. But Ditto did not do that for me.
Mm.
Like, even over time, it hasn't grown for me like that or whatever. The beginning of it is so interesting that I was kind of hoping.
Yeah, the intro is the best part.
Yeah, that hits
That's
right away, and I'm like,
right.
oh, this is gonna be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and then it kind of doesn't bring it back to me. Like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's very fair. Yeah.
yeah,
But
because if you start, like, you saw the video, I think, when I watched it in the live, right, or something. It's like the beginning of the video and the beginning of that song made me right away go, okay, maybe they're about to like really kill me with something right here. And then I just wanted that first 10-15 seconds bottled for the rest of the song.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool ideas, especially like just conceptually that they have going on, and it's very clear that this is a very well thought out project.
Yeah.
And I imagine that they've planned a lot in the future, so I'm sure we're going to see more and more coming out. And I don't think they're going to stay with this kind of style of music forever.
No.
I think at some point we're going to get a shift, and then it'll be interesting to see like what direction they go in. Maybe that will be to their detriment because people have come to like getting that vibe from them, because you don't really get that vibe from anyone else at the moment, really. It's probably also part of the reason why my generation was so successful, because it was a similar kind of vibe, and people were like, oh yeah, if this is the new trend, then these like the trendsetters or whatever.
We've said before they all kind of have very distinctly different sounds in the fourth gen so far, like the main popular girl groups do.
Yeah. And we're expecting. I think they're going to drop at least one other album this year, so
a full.
We'll have to see if they. I don't know. Just a release. Don't know.
And then they'll have an album before Hive.
Maybe.
Yay. Thanks, Hive. Please just do like give 15 songs. Let's do a 15-song album. How about that?
Well, I've released the Japanese version of Love Dive. So
sick. I'm bored. Love Dive. It's never a bad thing for me, but I think I've heard that song an unhealthy amount of times now. At this point, I might need to take like a rehab from Love Dive. I think
the Japanese version breathes new fresh air.
Yeah, do they change anything, or is it just in Japanese?
Just the words. Yeah.
I think when we were just talking about Ditto being so popular, it's what I've Love Dive and like After Like I feel like is a good example of that, because like Love Dive is a way better song than After Like, but like After Like had more wins and stuff, I think, just because of that popularity of
they just set a bar really high, and then they just rode that, because they were both released pretty quick after each other. There wasn't a huge amount of time. I can see it.
Well, we had a decent amount of music, right?
That's like the biggest. I guess those probably the biggest like girl group releases that we had. We had Twice's English song Midnight Sunrise.
God, did you not see that video?
Yeah, I saw it.
No.
Let's throw enough clips of it.
Momo's music video and guest. Just
I don't know.
They all look incredible. And, I mean,
visually Twice have been getting better and better, but musically I'm becoming less and less interested.
Oh yeah, I thought it was as far as English releases go, I thought that was really solid.
It was completely fine. It was very inoffensive.
You really liked the feels, I thought, though, right?
Yeah, but that's like as soon as my period of liking the feels was done, I never went back. Like I probably haven't listened to the feels in like over a year. I don't know. There's something about Twice. Maybe I think it's how once it's on the internet puts me off wanting to listen to them too much. But like I still listen to their older music. When I say older music, I mean like 2018, 2019 songs. And I'm always like, yeah, these are so good. And then I just don't find myself gravitating towards the newer songs as much.
To be fair to Twice, they've released such an expansive, good catalog of music. Like at this point, I don't judge them really if they don't release like just the absolute banger of bangers every time.
Yeah,
because they've such a massive catalog of music now.
I will say, so this year I'm trying to be extremely like diligent in keeping track of everything. So I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to come to the situation that we had when we made our list last year, where I was like, "Shit, that Legionnaire song! How could I forget that?" You know, I don't want to be in
Are
that
you putting
that
like gold
spot.
stars next to the ones that are very
No,
memorable for you?
so I've just made. I didn't make used to make playlists, so now I've made playlists. So I'm separating new releases into, by genre or category or whatever, and then I'm just keeping track. And then I have like an overall top quarter songs of the quarter list,
And then at the
and
end of
so
the
on.
year, I'll make you suffer and pick 10.
Exactly. Well, right, I'm already at 7 for my list from the quarter,
Yeah.
but
You're gonna have like 100 songs in there, and then you're gonna have to find out how to change it.
But the thing is, like, I'm being quite picky, in that, like, especially from idol music, I haven't not much has impressed me all that much at the moment so far. I mean, obviously it's been 1 month, so
I mean,
it's
you
early
definitely
days.
have to have Aurora from Signature at number 1 in there, right?
I have Parade from Signature. That
The
was
B
my favorite
side.
song. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh no. Well, we can talk about. May as well talk about Aurora. I mean, obviously, I'm incredibly biased when it comes to Signature, but I do think that was a very fun song, and it is the kind of like just fun that it can be so enjoyable about K-pop. It's also like there's some interesting stuff going on in the production, but it's still just like it's just a good. Like you listen to that song, and it's hard not to have your mood lifted.
Yeah.
You know, you just get a little
Well, I'm
boost
like a
anytime.
giddy little kid when like Chase Soul is in a video, so it's no, it is like overall I enjoyed it. For me, if something's cute, I don't always get
Mm.
enjoyment factor out of it, but Signature does it in a way that isn't like hurt bubblegummy for me, like where I'm like cringing or
Yeah.
something from it. They do it in a good like catchy way. I feel like
Yeah.
catchiness is the most important thing, because Oh My Girl has some stuff that is just like vanilla sweetener cute, but it's Oh My Girl, and their voices and their catchiness of it is so good that I'm like, okay, this is great. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it doesn't
Yeah,
make
I
me
mean,
like hurt
it's,
from it.
it's also a big part of the appeal of a lot of K-pop. It's just like this is so catchy and so enjoyable. I get just a dopamine hit from
Yeah.
listening to it. And obviously the Siggies I'm very close with them, so it helps as well. Um, at the last fan sign I went to, it was like the end. It was like Friday night, so I was like, at the end of a work week, so I was tired, and so I went up and got my album signed and everything, and then you just kind of have to sit there and wait for everyone to finish, and it just kind of dragged on a bit. I was like 14th out of like 50, so I got mine done pretty early, and then I'm just sat there, and my phone was low on battery, so I couldn't just be like mucking about looking at stuff. So I was just kind of sat there listening to the album on repeat because they just play it over and over again. And I felt myself falling asleep. I was sitting in my chair, just like gradually falling asleep. And then I kind of like, I didn't hear anything, but suddenly I felt the need to open my eyes, and Chisel was staring directly at me, and then she went like, fighting like that at me, and I was like, okay, I'm awake. Sorry.
Instant hit of dopamine just went.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you better have told Chase how many times I've called her Nation's Visual on here.
I haven't. I mostly just I'm very selfish. I complain, and then she like mothers me, and I like it. I told her I told her I was ill, and oh my god, best thing ever. She was just like, you need to look after your husband. I'm just like, yes, I know. Please stroke my head.
My main objective is to say that in enough spaces that it starts becoming an actual truth.
Yeah, we can push for it. They're doing
push
pretty well with
the
this
Chase
comeback.
Soul Nation's Visual narrative everywhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
they've broken their sales record and streaming records and stuff with this, which is great. And at least a few people have been like, wait, who's the tall girl? She's really pretty. So slowly the agenda will spread.
Yes.
Slowly.
I saw the MV was getting good views like really quickly.
Yeah, I mean they bought hella ads for it, so that that's why.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of slowed down. But it's their fastest to hit 10 mil, so that's nice. Um,
They
yeah,
need to do a bit of a. Oh my god! Imagine if they did like a Psycho concept.
Oof. It would be cool. It'd be cool to see them like. I mean, they kind of toyed around with the slowest style of song with Boyfriend. It would be cool to see them kind of do a darker concept.
Every group should have a dark concept every now and then.
Yeah,
That's what I believe. I believe every even amongst the most cutesy of styles, I want to see a dark concept every now and then.
yeah. Um, so I guess they were probably the biggest. Well, they were like the new goose who dropped stuff, right? And then we also had High Key and I don't know if it's ILY1 or ILY1. I don't know which way you're supposed to say it, but they both released stuff and they were both fine. High Key's song has been getting pretty good attention in Korea. People have been streaming it and liking it. So,
well, I did see that on the stream actually. Like there was a Tommy shared that, I believe.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I never know if you say it high key or not because the one like,
yeah, I'm saying even if they try and make you say a different thing, I refuse. We also had Primrose debut, the duo, who is from the company that Uche from Nature used to be under. So that's always a fun connection. They were in like a pre-debut group together with two of them.
Primrose is an interesting name actually to have as like a group. I feel like I think of so many animes have used Primrose as like the name of a weapon or a thing.
I'm surprised it hasn't already been a name.
Yeah,
you know. I don't know. They were okay, but I think it kind of struggled from like a very. I guess it makes sense doing like a very instrumental heavy chorus, given that there's only two members, right? So it's kind of hard to get that kind of richness in texture and stuff that you would get from a lot of voices. But it's certainly a cool idea, and it's cool that they're a duo. So I hope that they keep going. So we had a duo JB last year, Lily, and then we haven't really seen anything from them since. So it'd be nice to get more duos, just because it's like adds a different dynamic.
I remember them. I saw them as well. There was the duo made it just all click in my head. The main problem I have with duos is if one is not as vocally strong as the other, then you run into like a weird kind of dynamic of one member just being so much clearly like getting
one carrying. Yeah. Well, if you have it where it's kind of like one vocalist and one rapper or something like that, it can kind of get tired of hearing, especially if just because you're used to hearing a whole group a lot of the time. You're just like, okay, but now I'm just hearing the same voice and the same rap tone over and over again in every song, and it can get a bit repetitive. But hopefully they're both. I mean, we haven't seen enough, but they hopefully they're both multi-talented. I know that one of them did feel stronger than the other one, but
I don't know why it made me think of this, but have you ever thought like why Blackpink doesn't do like a subunit thing of like one of them is like duos like Jennie and Lisa, Jisoo Rose or something as like a subunit song? Just thinking of duos made me think of how interesting it would be to have like a Taeyang G Dragon style thing with like Jennie and Lisa released or something, like that kind of like.
I am good girl.
But they totally could do like because Big Bang did that like kind of.
Yeah. I mean, if Blackpink were doing more music stuff in general, that would probably be something that they could have explored. Like maybe it's a follow up. They've once they finish doing all the solos, finally, 5 years later, they'll get to doing a duo.
I remember hearing there was gonna be a Jisoo solo, like I think 2 years ago.
I mean, Jennie's solo came out in 2018. Right.
Rosé's at least I believe Rosé's took a long time because she was personally involved in it and didn't want it released yet or something,
right.
like, but what the fuck is going on with Jisoo?
Well, apparently it's recorded and stuff, so there's that. It's just a case of promoting it, whatever. I don't know, they're off meeting fucking Macron and Roger Federer in France.
Yeah.
And promoting and performing at the what was it? Some
French Gala thing I saw, or them and like Pharrell Williams and some like composer thing going on.
The term like French Gala just immediately makes me think of like a bunch of like French like revolutionary era
or like
wigs and
like aristocrats sitting there with like the the little binoculars,
eyeglasses. Like, this is rather uncouth.
Yeah. That then throwing it back for shutdown. It's like a bunch of people sitting there like that. It was a pretty. I saw the clip. It was actually, that crowd was losing it. That French crowd was like going wild. They were loud. Like,
I think you're huge. Like, you can't fault. Yeah, can't dispute.
No, the first time I realized, I honestly think Blackpink might be more this is gonna be a hot take. I don't want to get attacked by armies right now, but I honestly think Blackpink might be more globally popular than BTS at the moment. It's hard. I know that's hard to say, but my dad is like the most unconnected person from K-pop you could imagine, and even he like knows, and not because of me, just like knows what Blackpink is extensively because of like late night TV and stuff like that, because they've been on those like shows, like Jimmy Fallon and Kimmel and all that stuff.
Honestly, I think in America, no way.
I think in America, maybe it's a thing just because like maybe that's just because they've been on the night TV shows. Why someone my dad knows them.
BTS haven't been active in a while, so it's kind of hard. If they were, I think BTS.
I feel like though, even now, I've been like driving and 102.7 is playing like Blackpink, and that's like the main pop radio station in the United States, and they're playing
they're both massive, undoubtedly.
They're playing it the same way like The Weeknd's gonna come on, like kind of on the station and stuff. And to me, that was not a thing that existed like before.
Yeah, but I think with BTS being inactive at the moment, I think a lot of the fans have also kind of taken back seats because they famously aren't into anyone else, right? So they like, well, BTS isn't doing anything, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, I don't mean like overall, because I don't underestimate how. I just mean like at the moment, they seem the most like prevalent to everywhere right now. Like, I do remember when Dynamite was out. That was inescapable. I couldn't go like anywhere without that instantly kicking on, which kind of affected my feeling towards it. Because at first I was like, yeah, this is
going insane,
catchy, and then every time I'm walking inside like any building and Dynamite's playing, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, at some point I can't hear that chorus that many times.
Yeah.
It would be the same thing with Blackpink. If I walked in and Shutdown's just playing everywhere, eventually I'd be like, if I hear that violin one more goddamn time. Like, it is catchy though.
Yeah. What else can we talk about? We'll finish all the girls and then we can do the boys as well. So we had the way
you phrased that.
We'll finish all the girls. We had the Dreamcatcher fan song, which was cool.
Oh, is that nice. The thing Sua and Xian?
No, Reason.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like just a classic kind of Dreamcatcher song. It was nice, It wasn't intended to be a full release, or whatever. It was just a nice song. I'm sure it'll be a good encore song for their concerts. They can retire Mayday or Fly High, and they can bring out Reason instead. There's not much to say about this. It's a good Dreamcatcher song. And then I guess we should talk about the soloists who dropped. Actually, let's do. I don't want to. I would consider talking about XG, but I don't really consider XG a K-pop group, so I don't think I don't think they're worth talking about.
Yeah, I made that mistake because I didn't remember being shown them until they like refreshed me with the Tippy Toes thing, and I was like, okay, I remember hearing this. And then I made the mistake at the end being like, they're good, but it's gonna be really hard to compete with like IVE and New Jeans and LE SSERAFIM. And then I think it was Becca was like, they're not K-pop, and I was like, oh. Yeah, they were singing in English the whole time, weren't they?
Yeah, it's like they're all Japanese. They all sing in English and they all live in Korea. It's just kind of like
it has a clearly K-pop influenced sound to me, so I don't feel like I was wrong to compare.
They're trained in a K-pop way, and they promote in Korea. But it's just I don't know. I don't really know where to place them, and frankly, the music isn't interesting enough to me to care.
Well, I think Becca pointed out to me
So
they had a bit of a confrontation thing because the person, maybe it was their producer, someone in charge, made like a statement along the lines of, "Oh, yes, there were Korean songwriters, but it's not K-pop and like all this other
yeah,
stuff like that." And it was like it.
yeah, it was. It's been a bit weird the way that people are dealing with it,
It sounds like
the way
it
that
sounds like it's in the K-pop genre though. Like it doesn't. I wouldn't say
yeah.
there's something very distinctly non-K-pop about the sounds of the songs coming out.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think so either. But yeah, none of the songs have stood out to me enough to care. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, whatever. Do your thing.
Well, I liked so the original one is actually the best one out of because I checked out like the whole catalog basically in the Wednesday live, I believe, and Tippy Toes was still the best one in my opinion, like the very first one, I believe.
I don't remember how that goes. Oh yeah. Okay.
Like to me, that has like the catchiest hook
Yeah,
to it.
Oh, it's coming back to me. Yeah,
It almost has that pause you have in like the do the ping pong with like Hyuna and Dawn. That same kind of da 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 da, and then it hits kind of a beat
or a bit of Fearless maybe.
Fearless has like I've grown to love that song.
Okay.
And I don't know how that happened because you remember when we first checked it out, I was kind of disappointed, but
yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the live performances and like Chaewon just murdering me every time, but it's the live performances, isn't it? It's
yeah. Well, and speaking of, Seraphim released the Japanese version of Fearless, and it's become the highest like selling debut by a K-pop group in Japan. It's like it's sold like 320K on its first day.
That's
so
over twice even.
With the previous record holder was IZ*ONE on just for like a first like a debut first day sale was like it was IZ*ONE with like 290,000. So J1 and Sakura broke their own record.
How much of that do you think has to do with Sakura and like Kazuha, maybe?
I've no way of judging what Kazuha's popularity in Japan is, but Sakura undoubtedly carries a huge pull. But Chaewon would as well, just as proxy of being part of IZ*ONE. Like IZ*ONE were very big in Japan, like obviously, so she would have caught a lot of fans too. But it seems like they've struck a chord with Japanese fans in a way that I didn't expect, and it was really weird as well that they promoted it. I don't know if you saw the music video for the Japanese music video they did.
I did. It was a much different color palette because it was like pink with completely like different.
Yeah, it's like a different concept. So it's much cutesier, much like more innocent looking.
Very smart decision, I feel like. Considering that they were aiming it into a different market, like
100%. It's funny that it's with that song as well, like which has a kind of I don't know, like sexiness to it, but like kind of just a bit of sass.
That video, when I watched the Japanese video, it seemed more budget was thrown into that one than the original Fearless video. Because I don't know if you saw some of the crazy kind of like, I think it's Unche goes to like the mirror and it changes all the filters as she's like swiping the mirror. That's like the most expensive scene of any of their music videos that I've seen.
Some cool visual effects in that, for sure. Yeah. Well done, Seraphim. Keep saying. I guess the other girl group debut is worth talking about is Maeve, I believe is how we say it, who debuted with Pandora. This is the AI girl group.
Oh, I saw that. Okay, I thought
had music show performances entirely in VR, AR or whatever.
I legitimately thought until I read the name over again that like whoever shared it that it was like Novice's debut from
which is happening apparently,
but I thought that it already happened and that's what was shared to me. I was like, oh, is this the Novice from aespa's video or whatever? But no, I imagine that's what it's gonna be like, kind of that
probably.
similar aesthetic and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was okay. Like the songs were not bad. there's definitely some talented people behind it, and they've posted on their social media like hands and stuff of the actual girls, and it makes me kind of think like, what's the reasoning, what's the strategy here? Like if the point is draw loads of attention because it's like, whoa, it's AI, how weird. And then in like a few months or a year or whatever, then do like a big reveal of the members, then that's kind of a cool marketing strategy. Like that's a good way of getting attention, and then like integrating it with the AI later on or whatever. But if it's just because the girls don't want to do camera and stage work and stuff, fair enough, I guess. Maybe it's because they're considered ugly. To say in like the bluntest way possible, that is certainly a thing that some companies would consider.
I think it's an interesting way for really talented singers that maybe wouldn't make it in the idol industry to have an idol career.
People have been really like, people are like, I can't believe this is the future of K-pop. What an awful thing. It's like, I don't think it's that bad, like it's not like it's not going to completely supplant real life performances. Like that's never gonna happen.
If I'm missing out on like Taeyeon level vocals because they don't have Taeyeon visuals or something, like that's disappointing. I'd rather it exist in this type of way or something if that's how it has to happen in the idol industry or whatever. Like
like I said, the songs were okay. They weren't anything special. They were kind of what you'd expect from like a kind of girl crushy fourth gen girl group vibe. But
it reminded me of KDA, and I don't mean that just because it was animated. I mean the song really was in that like "you are more na 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 na" style. Yes. Like it was like
very much that kind of vein. Yeah. So obviously there were a lot of comparisons made, obviously to aespa and to KDA. It was kind of hard to avoid that. But like, whatever.
If it's good, it's good. I don't care what its influence is or anything,
Maybe there'll be like the AI subgenre of K-pop. Like K-pop's a big genre, as we said, a big industry. There's a lot of genres within it.
I think we've both always said like when they do that style, they should definitely try to aim it in the KDA way because like that was nailed. Like that was
absolutely smashed it. It is kind of weird though, like when watching Music Core or whatever, and you have all the real performances, and then you have this, like to be fair, extremely well animated, well put together stage where like the live audience must have just been sat there just watching the screen and being like, yeah, okay, it's just happening, I guess, and then they just kind of move on with it. I don't know. Like, what would they do if they win? Who do they give the trophy to?
The girls walk out with like masks on or something. I do think we're not too far away from the technology where they are like hologramming it on the stage.
It's gonna be soonish. You have to think
because the KDA actually had like holograms at one point, right?
I think. Well, they had like AR stuff that we could see that the crowd couldn't see.
Okay, but once that stuff's like visible by the crowd, it's gonna be pretty wild. Like, I wonder if SM, because they're so patient about like incorporating the digital side of it in the actual aespa performance.
Yeah,
we've seen them do it in like a dance performance video before and stuff, but I wonder if SM's like developing something.
They are. We know for a fact that SM has their own like lab of like AI robotics and shit that's going on. Though SM is currently going through some restructuring at the highest level. So because it's been known that SM's been losing a lot of money for a while. And the new CEO basically came out and said like, yeah, so I've like fired all the old directors or they've been moved on. And he's like reshuffled all of the board and everything.
They've had to figure out how the Lee Soo-man MCU is like structured.
And he was saying that there's just the company has just been investing in stuff like just recklessly and spending loads of money that it shouldn't have been. Apparently, like it was like buying into like wineries and like catering companies, just being like, hey, this could get money, and then just invest, which is certainly a thing you can do when you have a bottomless pit of money. But the issue was they didn't have a bottomless pit of money.
Thing, a company like SM should not be losing money because like aespa sold like
Well,
insane
exactly.
amounts of records. Like,
I mean, all of their artists are selling incredibly well, right?
but
Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's not like their
yeah,
new group is like struggling
tanking.
or
Yeah, yeah,
anything.
yeah.
They're thriving.
Well,
So it's
exactly. That it
like,
begs the question: how are you losing money? Like, what are you spending money on? Your
yeah.
sales are better than they've ever been. Um, but they're still looking to be acquired, right? They're still looking for a buyer. So
God,
all the chaebols are kind of
please
looking
don't
at it.
let
But
Scooter Braun become like the president of this too.
yeah, that's a whole other thing. Um, anyway, I guess. Oh yeah, we can talk about girl soloists as well. It's important to talk about. So I guess we'll skip over like OSTs and stuff because as much as some of them are quite good, it's we'll just be here forever. Um, so the main one I guess we should talk about is Yena.
Yeah, Love War, right?
Yeah,
I liked it. I like how she really actually flipped the sound and visuals of her previous two main
completely
releases.
different vibe. Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it too. I've been listening to it like more than I thought and enjoying it. I actually I think I really enjoy the final chorus when Bo's voice is like with her and then they're integrated together. I think it works quite nicely. It's just like yeah, it's a chill track. I'm there
She had
vibing
a
with
bit of
it.
like the can't
Yeah.
control myself visuals going on from like
Mm.
there's a like the little smudges of like blood and things like that, you know, and everything's kind of like destroying around her and stuff. It's like I will say as good as I she switched up her concepts, she really, 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 really nails that like
She
smiley
does.
like, you
She
know,
does.
vibe of
Yeah, and now she's kind of faced with a slightly difficult situation of like, does she just go back to what she was best at? Does she continue with this, or does she try something else entirely? I guess you say like she's always been doing like kind of pop rock style, right? And this kind of is going down like a darker rocky kind of vibe, but this was more like an R&B track. So I don't know. Maybe she's gonna find ways to stay similar
I think she
musically
could
and
go
keep
dark again,
different
just a
concepts.
little more pace to it. Because
Yeah,
Lavor's not exactly upbeat or anything, I
no,
would say. And I feel like Smiley and Smartphone are very upbeat and quick songs. Like
yeah.
they're in your face right away.
She should do a dark version of Smiley where she says, "I want to make you cry, cry, cry all day."
It's not a bad idea, actually.
But yeah, and she certainly I think Yen has realized that she's visually she visually can suit these concepts quite
Yes, I've blocked
well.
her Instagram. I
Oh
it's
Jesus!
unacceptable to my life, and I don't need that in the mornings.
I've developed heart conditions I didn't know were possible because of her Instagram.
Yeah, the Eyes One members' Instagrams are like atomic level threat to me in the morning when I open my Instagram. Like Chaewon and Yena, like both their Instagrams at any moment and end my day basically.
Yeah,
Where I
yeah.
go, I'm not opening this app anymore. Like,
It's definitely very dangerous to open at most points during the day. I can't open Instagram at work because like someone's gonna murder me. So yeah, um, yeah, it's cool. And I just like that she took the risk. You know, I like that she did something different. I think that's the key. I guess we can also speaking of kind of Eyes One related, not really, but at least Produce 48 related. We'll talk about Yunjin's solo release.
I thought that was great because you
Eyeball.
never would see that before, I feel like. Especially when she talked particularly about like I'm not your doll
Yeah,
in the song and said it in like a very like go fuck yourself kind of way.
it was very candid. It's like the kind of song that an idol releases when their group disbands at the end of their career, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a solo debut after you've had a 7 year tenure in a group, but she releases it at this point, you know. I think it was very cool. I really like primarily I really, as much as we shit on Hybe for a lot of things, I do, or at least in this case Source, I do really like that they have given them the kind of freedom to do that, you know.
Yeah.
They've said to Yunjin, yeah, you know, fucking, you want to write a song and release it, go right ahead. And what you want to contain these kinds of lyrics, go ahead.
Well, I
I
feel
mean,
like
maybe
they
she
clearly
had
want
worse.
Les Seraphim to be globally aimed.
Yeah.
And I feel like Yoonjin is a big factor of that because she has that kind of it factor of like, I don't care,
Yeah.
like, like it's
I'm not a normal idol. It's
yeah,
very,
like she does come across as that from the start of their group. Really, she kind of had that vibe. Like it's never, it's not like out of nowhere or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
definitely. I'm still waiting for Unshay to become a diva of her own. Currently, she's the perfect matinee, but yeah. So yeah, I think it's a good song. Like I definitely didn't hate it. It's not the kind of thing I want to listen to all the time, but I did just I liked it conceptually, and I liked that she was able to release it. So good job, Yoonjin.
Yeah, it was dope. It's dope to see an idol able to write and create their own release like that, and a company approve of it. I feel like a lot of companies would have read those lyrics and said nope and bottled that away like instantly. Like,
Yeah.
Like, are you trying to alienate like K-pop fans for you or something? Like, but it was good. I liked lyrically is how is the most impactful of it. Song wise, like you were saying, not something particularly my favorite usually, but lyrically has a lot of impact.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, and of course today we had VVs who I think released as an EP their strongest collection of songs to date, I would say. I wasn't a big fan of the title, but the album as a whole was very, very solid. So
yeah, I said to you listening to it, I wasn't sure which song was the title. And then you told me it was the first one that's Pull Me Up or whatever, right? Which I agree with you is actually not my favorite out of all of them. I would have to go with like Vanilla Sweet Killer just for the name. Dude, well, and they say it in the song too, which has like a good vibe to it.
And they have a city pop song on there, so obviously that's going to be the one I gravitate to. But there's some good songs in there.
God forbid that I've creates a city pop song. It'll just be the end of you on it.
I'm open to many things. So is there anything else? I guess that's it for girls. On to the men.
Before we move on, I don't know why I was just thinking this. Does Red Velvet have a city pop release?
That's like songs of theirs that you could consider.
Like, I know they have iconic like B-sides like Kingdom Come and stuff like that, but I don't think any of those are city pop.
Yeah, like there's some songs which are kind of close, right? There's what was the one that had a like a this is gonna sound dumb, like a Spanishy name.
Bambaleo.
That one was. We did like the Canyonero song. Canyonero.
No, I was doing Gypsy Kings. Bambaleo, Bambaleo. Da 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 da.
Yeah, that was kind of probably. There's a couple other ones that are of that vibe, like especially some of the ones from the Russian Roulette EP. I think were kind of in that kind of vein. Around that era, and in. Yeah, but it's just adjacent, I would say, not full on city pop.
Yeah, I would love for them to do like a full blown release of like just full city pop like style.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, so men.
Yeah, men exist.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned the BXP debut as well. I think. Oh, I guess I didn't talk about this in the news segment. I guess it fits in. So we had a new boy group debut called 8 Turn, I think. Let me double check that. 8 Turn, yep. So they debuted under MNH Entertainment on the same day that MNH announced that Chung-ha is not going to re-sign her contract with them. So MNH disbanded Bandit, didn't keep Chung-ha, and have now debuted their boy group. And the debut was okay.
Making moves.
They've made a choice, shall we say?
It's an interesting name. Not quite as impactful as Bugaboo. Something I can never forget coming across.
Bugaboo had, despite having disbanded, Bugaboo had an OST come out that I guess they recorded like months ago, and it released today. So I saw like a Bugaboo release. I was like, "What? They're back! They're alive! Bugaboo lives on!" But no.
Eight Churn, you said?
Eight Turn, yeah. I don't know if there's some fancy way to pronounce it. I haven't seen it in haven't seen the Korean, but yeah, but we'll probably want to look out for. Probably they'll have like a solid fan base. I wouldn't say they'll have a huge one, but certainly solid. And then we had a decent release from Aimers as well, another Nugu boy group, Fireworks. That was pretty good. It was just yeah, this is a solid track. I was thinking to myself as I listened to it. Nothing to complain about.
Out of what I've heard of the boy groups this month, TXT Sugar Rush Ride is the best I've come across.
I did not like Sugar
You did
Rush
not like
Ride.
it? I liked it.
No.
I mean, the music video had some Only One Of vibes going on a little bit there.
Hell yeah. I should have watched that.
But I liked the like the pre-chorus build-up is good in my opinion.
Yeah,
like the.
But I was like, guys, just exhaling and having a whistle in the back is not a chorus.
No, is it? Is it not? Maybe I'm a little minimalist sometimes.
Technically it is a chorus, but it's not a chorus I want. You know, it's just like, okay, like, especially this is the thing, right? When I'm not watching the music video or whatever, and it's like I'm not watching a bunch of good-looking men do good-looking man stuff, and I'm just listening to the song, I'm just like, well, this is underwhelming.
I will say I have not heard the song separately from the music video. Maybe that's a big difference.
Yeah, I liked it more on the second thing. I also there was some stuff about it that I felt was very similar to other songs. Like they had those kind of like triplets in the verses, which were very similar to Drunk Days, and then you know,
yeah.
And it was also, I'm pretty sure it was the same, it might be the same key as Generation by Triple S as well. So that was, I'd set me in that tone right at the start. I don't know. I listened to the album. The album was solid. I think I liked Farewell Neverland the best. But again, it was nothing like blew me away from TXT's release. Compared to like, we always will talk about Love Song and stuff like that, right? But
yeah, but that to me, that's probably always going to be their best release.
For me, I'm still team Runaway. Runaway is a great tune.
Just the like angsty like emo chorus, you know. I feel like they are the boy group who's by far pulled that off the best.
Yeah,
that like concept.
But they've now kind of found themselves in that spot where they have to, where they feel like they're obligated to do that, to stay in that lane, you know, and it's kind of maybe hurting them a bit.
Well, I saw someone complain that N- hasn't brought back like the vampire storyline they have going on or whatever.
I think it is a bit of an issue when you have really popular or successful releases, when you are a really big group where like you kind of get stuck in a pigeonhole almost. But anyway, moving on, I guess we also had NCT's repackage. We had Ayo, which was definitely better than Two Baddies for me. But my issue with 127 this music lately is it's like you get these beautiful vocals. You know, you have Taeil and Doyoung who come in. Anytime I hear Doyoung's voice, I'm like, okay, Doyoung, I get it. You can sing, like chill.
Well, like, SM always has a way of writing in like some sort of like harmony that
just
really
beautiful vocals. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is fantastic. But it's just, and normally it's in the bridge, right? You have like the classic SM bridges, and you're just like, take me away. But then it's just the rest of it is just not. It's not hitting the same way it was. And I remember earlier today I was listening to Regular and like Cherry Bomb and Summer 127, which has always been one of my favorite 127 songs.
Is big a fan
not hitting the same.
The big a fan I am of like the SM sound. Sometimes they'll like write like wub wubs into tracks that just don't belong or something, you know, like where you'll be listening to something and it's this beautiful like harmony, and then it'll be like whoop whoop and go into like another part, and I'm like, Did Skrillex come in the room out of nowhere and
it feels like very like arbitrary experimentation, kind of for the sake of it, and it doesn't necessarily serve a purpose. The other, they did release a DJ. Did you see DJ? They had like a video for that. Yeah.
No.
That one was like actually that I quite liked that one, and they also had Skyscraper. That was the other new track, which is more chill and just more.
Just
vocal
as there cannot be a bad
nice
song named Aurora, there cannot be a bad song named Skyscraper.
True. As someone whose song of the year last year was,
if you there's certain titles, if you put that as your title, that better be a good song.
Yeah. So that was all good. It's just I just feel like they haven't quite landed where I want them to land with their title tracks. I guess kind of since since Favorite. I guess I didn't hate Sticker. I quite like Sticker, but yeah, it's just the last couple have not really done it for me. What else did we have? We had the other big ones. We had Monster X and SF9. So Monster X I actually really liked. I thought this was one of Monster X's best EPs for a while.
Monster X always just kills it. I feel like, especially since what Gambler was like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
It's been a while since Gambler now. Yeah,
since then to now, I haven't disliked anything like that they've done.
Yeah. I haven't disliked a Monster X song, like, period.
Yeah, it's not that I ever disliked something from before, but I just mean like since then I've just been like, every time something comes out.
Every time they drop something, I'm just like, The Beautiful Lie was certainly more rock focused than they've done in the past. Like just instrumentally, there's more guitars and stuff, which is cool, and some very solid B-sides. It's cool as well that there was the slight uncertainty that came up after IM didn't resign and moved to a different company and stuff, but it hasn't seemed to have slowed them down or affected them in any way. He's still producing music for them.
I've seen that with Mamamoo too. It's not like when going anywhere else even stopped them from like just continuing
from doing
on
stuff. Yeah,
Jew Honey though, what a multi-talented kid.
Jew Honey 100. Yeah, he's really come into his own since Shonu enlisted. Really, yeah, good stuff. And Shonu is going to be out soon, but presumably we're going to have more enlistments coming soonish from them, so there will be.
I guess one we would be kind of the other big.
Yeah. So after we said when we did the last one, reaction, we were like, "Oh, we're not going to see them for a while because they have members enlisting or whatever," and they were like, "Nope, here's a fucking full English album." And it seems like the ones who are still here are doing stuff with it. I mean, the track was it didn't blow me away.
To me, Baekhyun had like the best "I'm going into the military, here's Bambi," and like just bounced or whatever, he's like, here's like me just doing an absolute banger on a train, and then I'm going to the military.
Right.
He had like I'm in the blood, Bambi doing all the like perfect dancing inside of that video is amazing too. But like, although did Taemin drop Advice, right? But so no, that's better. That's a better.
But they're both very they're both big statements. Like, Advice
going into the military though. That's a perfect that's better. Never mind. I thought about Bambi, but Advice was right before he went in, huh?
Yeah. What else do we have? We had Moonbin and Sanha. They had another duo release from the two of them from Astro. That was actually a very good EP. That some really good songs on there. I really enjoyed actually Sanha's solo song on there called Wish. I think that was my favorite. But it was called Incense or Perfume, something like that. That was a really good track as well. We had a Vix sort of song. We had a Vix unit release a song called Gonna Be All Right, which was you can tell exactly what that sounded like from the tone. Kind of similar to Gravity from One We in that sense. Like,
which company is Vix on again?
They're not. They're all doing. I think they're all scattered.
It's like Ravi has his own or whatever, right?
For now, until he has to step down from his issues, shall we say? Yeah. The Vix were formed by Jellyfish, so Sejong's label, but they they're all not under Jellyfish anymore. And maybe one or two of them are, but yeah. Yeah.
You saying Sejong just made me imagine like when do I get a Sejong full album coming up or something? You know,
can you imagine?
Business Proposal season 2.
And she's been acting a lot, and she's been doing not enough. The SF9. I've never been a huge fan of SF9's music. They look great, but the music really hits me. And this is like I was listening to it. It wasn't, I wasn't upset with it, but it was just not doing anything. And it came out on the same day as Monster X, and just thought Monster X's music was just way better. So
it's gonna be hard to beat Monster X coming out on the same day as that, though.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the bigger ones were some of the solos. So we had Yo-Gyeom right at the start of the year from GOT7, who did the song with Sick K, a big rapper R&B artist. Like, it was okay. I was saying this a lot, but it didn't blow me away. Sorry, Yo-Gyeom. And then we had, of course, the big one, the one that everyone was focused on was I guess, well, before I talk about that, we'll also do Jin Young, because he's also from GOT7. He released an album, Cotton Candy, which was actually pretty good. I quite liked it. Lots of nice kind of softer songs that complement his voice really well. Not full on like ballads or soft pop or anything like that, but just kind of like more chill, nice songs. Like nothing to complain about.
I saw that one out of most of the ones you've been naming. I thought it was good as well. But I made a mistake and forgot he was in GOT7 when we were watching the video during the live. But still, it was a good song. Yeah. It was just, I think because I had been seeing the Jin Young guy from in Produce 101 so much or whatever, my brain like scrambled one night.
I said, thinking of Bae Jin Young from CIX.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very me mistake. Okay, it's fair.
Like, I'm not judging. The big one was obviously Taeyang and Jimin.
It was catchy. It was good. Taeyang just has like absolutely incredible releases from before, so that's like the problem when someone has such a high standard.
He set a very high bar. Yeah. It felt like a very Western-y song to me, like a very Western pop song. I know that's not necessarily like a bad thing, but it did kind of feel like a bit too safe, I guess is probably the word I'm thinking of. It's just a bit safe, but like I did enjoy it. It was a good vibe. That's the name of the song. And I was chilling. I thought the voices actually complemented each other really nicely. I was thinking that maybe like Jimin's voice would be a bit too kind of airy for Taeyang, but it actually ended up working.
No, their voices meshed together pretty well, actually. Although, like, right away, I knew we were getting a Taeyang music video because he's just standing there shirtless, as he always does in every music video. It's like the staple.
He is who he is. He is a simple man. He doesn't like shirts.
I thought with the like stoic like black background and him shirtless, I was like, "Is this Eyes Nose Lips video starting? Did I click the wrong video?"
It's Eyes Nose Lips again, but this time it's Jimin on the billboard singing. He slowly tries to avoid the fire. Yeah. It was good. It didn't have the kind of ground shattering like nationwide impact that it maybe could have had with those two people coming together. It didn't stop the New Jeans train in terms of the charts or anything like that for very long.
Could anything have stopped the New Jeans train? I don't know.
Like we had like NCT popped them off for like an hour or two. TXT popped them off for an hour or two.
I think like BTS would have to like have a comeback to stop the New Jeans train or something.
No, Im Young Woong needs to come back. He'll deal with it.
He'll do it, and then he'll still lose M Countdown to someone.
And I guess the other two, we had two Super Junior members, one former and one current, both had solo releases. So Henry Lau had his release Moonlight. Again, it's a little bit in the air at the extent to which we can consider it K-pop nowadays, but it's still kind of released into that market, promoted in that way. So, it was a good song. I mean, Henry is a really good songwriter. I think he I would love to see him be more experimental. I think
Especially considering
that's
how multi-talented he
oh
is
god,
in
I'm
instruments and everything too. Like,
unbelievably so. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess he doesn't want to be like just known as like the guy with the violin, and just
no, but I
making
feel
that
like
his thing. But
if he incorporated some of that to his solo stuff, he definitely separated himself from just like the endless sea of
right, right,
releases, that are out there.
yeah, um, yeah. But it was a decent release for sure. And then we had Yesung releasing his first full length album. Obviously, Yesung's released a lot of solo songs in the past. Um, he's also had some pretty cool collaborations. Like he has a nice song with Chung Ha, for example, who we mentioned earlier. Um, and he has one with Silky as well. But this one was his feature was none other than Mark from NCT. He came in.
A clone
And
of Mark.
although that wasn't for his title actually, it was for one of the other songs on the album. And you can tell he really yesung these songs. They're very fitting for him. The vibe was very fitting for him, and it was an enjoyable listen in the sense that Yesung is a great singer and he's very enjoyable to listen
Is
to.
Yesung the youngest of Super
No,
Junior left? No, that's but the other like main singer is the youngest, right?
yeah, the
Okay.
the other two in the main vocal line, KRY, are the two youngest.
Okay.
Kihyun and Ryoga.
Yesung looks young compared to like when you see like Siwon and like and Dong
Yeah,
Hae, right, and stuff, because they're
yeah,
like these big like
yeah.
dudes now that look like
Yesung styles himself in a more. He's very skinny and he styles himself in a more kind of different
yeah.
way. But he is a 38-year-old man.
I'll
but
never forget that like Super Junior video with the little kids, and then like they think Heechul's the youngest in the group. And I think it's like
saying, like,
you get so pissed about it or whatever.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Um, yeah, but it's a very nice album, and you can just kind of listen to it and appreciate his vocals. Like most of the songs aren't anything groundbreaking, like musically speaking, but like you don't need a song to be like that to enjoy it, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's just nice vocals. It's kind of what you would hope for, and it's what he delivered. So it's a good job, Jason. I don't know if there's anything else necessarily to mention.
I feel like it's insane to me that in this month that much has already been released.
Yeah, and
Like,
and this is not
even
talking
considered
about
like a pop-off month for like K-pop? I don't
no,
know. Like,
it's generally been considered quite quiet.
yeah, and it's still like an insane amount of music released.
And I should point out, I told you like I've been making playlists and stuff, so I have 13 songs in my ballad/soft pop playlist. I have one song in my GG Idols playlist and two in my BG Idols playlist. I have one song in fucking jazz, I guess. Two songs in instrumental.
That definitely has that Joe Yuri song, right?
That's in OSTs.
Because the jazz piano breakdown in the middle,
Yeah.
I was like, that sure has to make that.
I've got 10 songs in synthy stuff. I've got 3 songs in random Japanese bangers. I have 16 songs in R&B, 7 songs in hip hop, and 31 songs in rock/indie.
Hey, look
with
at Rock making
13 in OST. Yeah, rock/indie has been killing. I might have to actually split them up because
well, I guess to like conclude the overview of the month, what in your mind stood out the most?
Out of the ones we've mentioned, or out of other
just
ones?
I guess overall, who was the best of the month? Like
for me, Lee Sung Yoon, who was on Sing Again. You know that show that made Lee Moo Jin really popular.
Yeah.
He has released a couple things. He just released a full album, which I haven't actually listened to. I listened to the title, and the title was great. I loved it. It was a big old album. It's like 14 songs, so I haven't got around to it yet. I might listen to it after this, actually, and then completely retrospect.
I always have to balance out your obscure picks.
I mean, he's not obscure.
I just mean like it was not, I guess, what I was expecting out of.
Well,
like,
I mean, I think I set the tone over this where I was saying how like I found a lot of songs kind of just
Yeah.
I think just haven't been vibing so much with a lot of idol music so far this year, apart from Signature.
The
I
typical
guess if I'm picking an idol song from a group, like an idol group, it would be Signature. Parade is the one I like the most. I do love Aurora.
I want to shill Signature so hard. Pick that. I do. I love Chase Soul and I want to pick that so badly. But the basic bitch in me just has to pick Stamp on it as my favorite moment of this month, because it was. If I look retrospectively, what am I gonna remember from like this month happening? It's gonna be that happening.
That image is burned into your brain forever.
Dude, the even from the performance video, like God, the like first verse when Taeyeon comes in like instantly, but short hair Windy might be the thing I remember the most out of this month. And the attacks that I've been barraged with in the Discord of short hair Windy. Like, I guess everyone decides when an idol that isn't usually in my like top 20 bias or whatever has short hair, everyone decides, all right, we're gonna just like barrage Honan with it this month, you know. But the song, for me, I love that style. I always will. I'll always be such a sucker for that. Like, this is you walking the club and this hits, you know. Like, like to me, they nail it.
Yeah, I completely get you. Try and give you a top one from each one of the songs. Each one of my there's a couple of good albums that came out that I listened to like over the last couple of days. One which is called "Take a Chance" by Surreals, and Surreals apparently is a audio visual collective. I sound like such a dick. That they do like multimedia art form apparently, but one of which is music. I don't know anything about them. I just saw the song and listened to it and liked it, and I don't give a shit about the rest. But they have a couple of songs on here which are very like heavy synthy, like, you know, like a synth bass comes in and you're like feeling like you're in Mass Effect. You're like, yeah, it's hard not to.
Well, me and you both love that synth wave, so I can totally see like.
Someone called Royal 44 released an album called Michael Jackson with a song called Michael Jackson Dance Version, which I really liked. Then there was Charlie Bean Charlie Bean Works.
Are you making these up?
Charlie Bean Works, who released The Hitchhiker's Guide to Time Travel Part 1 and the song Shining and Hands Up High. Great stuff.
I feel like those last two, if I threw a dart and naming my artist name and song and album name, like that's how I would come across those. You know what I mean? Like
some guy who I don't know, a Japanese guy called Shingo Katori did a song with 17 supposedly called Betting. So it sounded like 17 when I listened to it. But that was pretty good, like that. What else can we go? Oh yeah, The Quiet, who's like the, you know, in Good Girl, he's the dude who came up with the Young G. He's the dude who came up with that hook. Young G.
Yeah.
He released an album. It was his first, like his album. He's done loads of features and stuff, but it's like his album for the first time in a good few years. Really, really good. Like very kind of old school hip hop, like similar to Epic High, but with less English, kind of. That was really, really good. And yeah, I guess those are the ones that I really liked at the moment. Oh no, and then my main one, which may be my album of the year already. This is my so far album of the year. Okay, is Paranol. Paranol with an album called After the Magic. He is a one-man band extraordinaire. Not in the sense that he's a dude who like goes to a park with like a big drum on his back and then he plays like 3 instruments at once. But he it's like I would say it's like post rock, but then he has songs which have other elements in it.
So he is a one man band. So he's the percussion and everything.
He does everything. Yeah.
Gotcha. He's Trent Reznor.
Yes. Trent Reznor, but I don't know anything about him, so I don't know how pretentious he is. But yeah, but really, really cool stuff. And he released a song came out earlier this year, which I thought was fantastic, and then it turned out there was going to be a whole album with it as well. So
I thought you might be saying like the Ed Sheeran one man band thing, where it's like I stood up here with an acoustic, so I'm a one man band or whatever.
It's very full instrumentally. Like it's a lot of the time it can be very fuzzy and like soundscape kind of.
Gotcha.
I'll give a song afterwards. You can check it out and see. You can confirm if I'm talking out of my ass or not.
I guess news-wise, to conclude everything, one thing that we really we kind of glossed over it. Where do you think Chunga is gonna like end up?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I hope that people don't kind of think of her as like being old news or whatever. You know, I think she still has a lot to offer.
Well, I feel like even her I thought Sparkling was like really good.
Yeah, she's had really good songs lately. But she hasn't had as much attention as she has in the past. Like in her kind of peak era with like Roller Coaster and stuff like that. That was really when she was properly thriving, or obviously Snapping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
everyone slept on Bicycle. God, that was a banger, bro.
Oh, yeah, she's had a lot of really good songs, and it would be a huge waste for her to. I feel like, come on, like, how would you not want to sign someone like Chungha, bro? Like, people should be foaming at the mouth to try and get her into their company.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like what would be like the most realistic company to sign her. Like,
I would think maybe somewhere like they've kind of chilled on their aggressive signing of everyone, but maybe a Big Planet, the company that Vivi's is under. They have a good like range of artists like Imogen and Bios that are under there. I feel like that would be a good.
Sunmi's label seems like a good fit or something too. Though, like they signed Bam Bam, right? And then they signed. Who did they sign recently again? It was someone. They just signed a big name again too. I think, right?
I know what you mean. Let me check. Was it a group?
No, they signed Dara. They signed Sandara.
Did Park. They?
Yeah.
It's Abyss Company.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. They signed Sandara up. So they Bam Bam, Sunmi, Dara. That's
they have Melamans.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably right now the biggest boom for them, right? Like,
because they merged with they merged with Make Us.
I just feel like I feel like Chungha could definitely fit in that Sunmi kind of like soundscape category. So I feel like that's a good fit label wise.
Yeah,
because they know what they're doing with Sunmi. So like I feel like with Chungha it would fit into that vibe wise there.
Yeah, I think she definitely needs somewhere that keeps her on a that gives her like a lot of freedom. I mean, obviously, who doesn't need that, right? But I mean, I guess some artists like discipline and being pushed and whatever. I feel like Chungha really wants a relaxed space in which she can communicate more freely with her fans and stuff, because she was constantly not being able to communicate the way that she wanted to when she was under MNH, and that obviously was taking a toll on her. So I hope she can, you know, have a break and rest, recuperate, and collect herself and make a decision. Don't rush into anything, you know, because she's so talented that she can go anywhere. Hopefully, anyone should be willing to take her.
Watch Hive buy her and make a new girl group.
I don't know if they're gonna make a girl group with her, but she could certainly. I'm sure she could go to one of their labels as a soloist.
Yeah, one of their like 5 subsidiaries that they probably have now or whatever.
Yeah, she could go to KOZ with Zico. That'd be fun.
Oh wait, which company?
Zico's label KOZ is under Hive as well.
Oh, they even own like.
If you forgot, like Zico is also one of their artists.
That's crazy. They're gonna like have the largest umbrella network at some point.
Yeah, they already do.
Well, I guess anything's just hearsay. We have no idea where she's gonna end.
Yeah,
Ravi's gonna keep trying to.
Ravi will come back in an explosion. He did something with Chungha, didn't he? Like he did.
Maybe. Yeah. I remember because he signed Way In, right?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
And he had something with Ailey, but that didn't work out.
Oh yeah, she already left, right?
Yeah, Ravi did a song called "Live" featuring Chung Ha. What the hell was that in my brain? That song
I
was
don't remember that happening.
That song was like over 3 years old.
That doesn't exist for me.
It's not even a title track. It's just like some random Ravi song. Okay, whatever.
Well, to conclude, Taeyeon was the greatest thing that happened this month. We're all in agreement. Yes, no one disagrees. Short hair.
I like rock music now.
All I will remember, short hair Taeyeon, until someone reminds me other things happened this month. I'm sorry, Chase Soul. I know you happened. Nation's Visual happened this month. I could never sleep on that.
You sure did.
All right, this has been the K-pop podcast Roundup, we're gonna call it.
Yeah, January Roundup.
January Roundup, perfect. There we go. That's exactly what this is gonna be named. There you go. All right, I'm Honan.
I'm Oliver.
Goodbye.